In a tense courtroom, a stern judge was about to deliver his ruling when a little girl shattered the silence with an unexpected interjection. "I am hungry." The room instantly fell silent. Her mother looked mortified, but what the judge did next stunned everyone and changed the course of the day. Before we dive in, please share where you're tuning in from, and if you enjoy stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe for more narratives. Let's begin. Sofia Delgado awoke before dawn as she did every day. The modest apartment she shared with her 6-year-old daughter, Emma, was quiet except for the soft hum of the early morning streets of Chicago, a city that never truly sleeps. Yet, Sofia hardly slept either. That morning seemed like any other, until one change. Instead of dashing off to work at the downtown bakery, she now had to stand before a judge over what seemed like a minor issue that loomed large: a $200 parking ticket. As Sofia glanced at Emma, sound asleep with her cherished stuffed bunny, guilt washed over her. She hadn't meant to park in the wrong spot. She had been rushing to pick up life-saving medicine for a recent fever. Now, she and her daughter were caught in a predicament she couldn't afford. "Come on," she murmured softly, gently brushing Emma's curls. "We have to go." The Chicago courthouse loomed intimidatingly with its lofty ceilings, gray walls, and guards as stern as stone statues. Sofia felt small, clutching Emma's hand tightly as they stepped inside. Rumors swirled about Judge Benjamin Carter, the very man they were about to face. Renowned throughout Illinois for his unyielding adherence to the law, Sofia could scarcely imagine persuading someone like him to be lenient. While they awaited their turn, she silently rehearsed her plea. "Your Honor, I'm a single mother. I only parked for a few minutes. I couldn't afford to miss work." Suddenly, the bailiff's voice broke through her thoughts, calling her case. Swallowing hard, Sofia repeated, "Come on, Em," softly to herself as she and Emma approached the bench where Judge Carter sat, serious, expressionless, and imposing behind his massive desk. Methodically, he flipped through the paperwork. The sound of pages turning filled the courtroom like the steady tick of an unseen clock, counting down to his verdict. "You parked illegally in a wheelchair-designated spot," Judge Carter declared, his gravelly voice echoing throughout the room. "Do you deny this?" Sofia's knees nearly buckled as she clutched Emma's tiny hand like a lifeline. "No, Your Honor," she began, but before she could continue, a small voice interrupted the oppressive silence. "Can we get pancakes, please?" The words hung in the air for a split second, then ricocheted off the walls, amplifying the shock. Every eye in the courtroom turned toward them. Sofia's pulse raced as her cheeks flushed a deep crimson. Gasps erupted, as if the room had collectively inhaled before a storm, and murmurs began to ripple through the onlookers. The whispers mingled with stifled laughter and wide-eyed disbelief. Who would dare interrupt? Even Judge Carter, Chicago's most formidable judicial figure, paused mid-sentence. His pen stopped in its tracks as if time itself had halted. Slowly, he raised his steely gaze from the paperwork to focus on the tiny interloper. Emma, the 6-year-old girl, barely reached the podium beside her mother. Sofia's heart pounded as she hissed, "Emma," mortified beyond belief while crouching to gently grip her daughter's shoulders. "What are you doing?" But Emma, undeterred, met her mother's gaze with calm resolve. "My tummy's making loud noises," she explained matter-of-factly, pointing at her belly. The murmuring crowd shifted into a blend of suppressed chuckles, disbelief, and amusement. A few audience members exchanged knowing looks, trying to hide their smiles behind their hands. Even the usually stern bailiff's expression softened, a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth betraying his surprise. Judge Carter remained seated, his normally cold eyes now filled with a hint of curiosity, a look no one had ever seen before. For Sofia, anxiety churned in her stomach. This was it, she thought, bracing for the worst. Then, in a move that left the entire courtroom dumbfounded, Judge Carter slowly raised an eyebrow. "Did you just say pancakes?" he inquired, his tone shifting from scolding to genuine curiosity. The room held its breath. No one dared speak. Sophia blinked in disbelief at the judge's words, unable to process what she had just heard. Beside her, Emma nodded eagerly. Yeah, pancakes with syrup, please. This time, the silence didn't last long. A ripple of laughter began to break through. Someone coughed to cover it, followed by a few snickers. Soon, the tension shattered like thin ice. Sophia buried her face in her hands. Her cheeks burned as if set aflame. She wished she could vanish into the floor. I'm so sorry, Your Honor, she whispered, her voice nearly drowned out by the laughter. She's just hungry. Judge Carter raised his hand, and the courtroom fell silent once again. Sophia braced for his wrath, yet there was no anger on his face. Instead, he leaned back in his tall leather chair, his sharp features softening into an expression that blended amusement with contemplation. Miss Delgado, he began evenly, his voice carrying a faint warmth. Are you telling me you didn't have time for breakfast this morning? Sophia swallowed hard. No, Your Honor. We were in such a rush to get here. She glanced down at Emma, who stood proudly with her hands clasped in front of her, as if making the most logical request in the world. Judge Carter returned his gaze to Emma, who met it without flinching. There was no trace of fear in the little girl's eyes, only the unfiltered trust that a child offers so freely. What's your name, young lady? The judge inquired. Emma, she replied confidently. But you can call me Em. A gentle ripple of laughter spread through the room. Even Sophia, despite her embarrassment, couldn't help but smile at her daughter's fearless candor. Well, Ma, the judge said kindly, I don't believe I've ever had anyone request pancakes in my courtroom before. Emma tilted her head thoughtfully. Maybe you should have some too. They make you happy. The audience burst into laughter again, and even Judge Carter allowed the faintest smile to appear at the corner of his mouth. Sophia's breath caught in her throat. Had he really smiled? A smile from a judge known as the most unyielding in Chicago? That small moment felt like a seismic shift. Shaking his head as if to regain composure, Judge Carter announced, Let's take a short recess. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as he stood and exited through a side door, leaving everyone, including Sophia, staring after him in astonishment. Mommy, Emma whispered, tugging at Sophia's sleeve. Is he going to get pancakes for us? Sophia couldn't answer. She was as baffled as everyone else. Yet, for the first time since entering that intimidating courtroom, a spark of hope glimmered within her.